Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the permission to stand to make my short intervention and contribution to the 2025 and 2026 budget. I also thank the Lord for health and strength and for his continued blessings and guidance. I also want to recognize all parliamentarians and my colleagues on the government side and also my colleagues on the opposition benches. I want to also greet all Dominicans, both here and abroad, and to those persons who have made Dominica their home. I want in a very special way to greet my constituents, the residents of Bakers, Tebow, and Penville, who have continued to place their trust and confidence in me over an extended period of time. I want to thank them for their love and for their genuine concern and support. My love to them is certainly uncompromising. I also want to recognize the many citizens of Dominica and foreign nationals who have invested in Dominica. I think the private sector is an important player in the economic and social development of Dominica. And their continued demonstration and confidence in our country and our country's future is important. And I appreciate anyone who creates jobs in Dominica, anyone who invests in Dominica. And so I want to say to the private sector, we may not always agree on how we see things, and that is life. But we all agree on the fact that we all have to work together for the continued advancement to this country. And the government is very open to engaging you as always on how we can improve the environment for doing business in our country. I want to recognize also the many public officers, both past and present, who have provided human service to our country under trying circumstances at time, and they have stood the test of time and they showed their commitment. Many of whom have had the opportunity or will provide opportunities to migrate and chose to remain in Dominica. The police officers who brave the streets day and night to ensure and assure the security and of course the seas of Dominica, to ensure and to assure our security, our tranquility and the peaceful nature which we know ourselves. And to the returning Dominicans, many of whom have transformed the social and economic landscape of so many communities from Skerrit to Capuchin, from St. Joseph across to Lapley, who have built huge homes, brought in money, placed money in the banks, and are employing people, and they just sit there on a permanent vacation, spending money. These are the real tourists of Dominica, Mr. Speaker. They're returning. And also I want to recognize a number of young people who are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, who have not reached retirement age, who are investing in Dominica, building homes for their own personal use, investing in the rental accommodation, investing in commercial rentals. As this is clearly a demonstration of their commitment, but also recognizing that there are opportunities in Dominica. And they prepare themselves for this, and they're taking advantage of it. And I have seen, Mr. Speaker, a dramatic rise in the number of non-nationals who are settling in Dominica, buying land, building homes, investing. I want to say to them to bring all their relatives and friends and relocate to Dominica. We truly appreciate their investments in Dominica. And to the young people who continue to recognize that education is important, staying on the safe and narrow, and those who are not on the safe and narrow, we will continue to assist them to ensure that they can stay on the safe and narrow. We recognize that. To the clergy, recognize the continuous efforts towards shepherding our nation to the ultimate home, heaven, though if I were to say to them that I believe that they could do a little more in terms of interpreting the gospel and the scriptures in a more transparent manner, that would certainly help a little more. And to all of us in this country who continue to labor in the vineyard to the service of Dominica. In my own regard, Mr. Speaker, I returned to Dominica in 1997 from university. I did not receive a dollar from the government to go to school. I worked, and my mother also provided funds. And can you imagine changing francs into US? The sheer cost of it. And I got involved in the politics in 1998. The first meeting I attended in Rose Douglas was in a boathouse in Asolda. And sun flies by to you, and we had a bullseye for our light, bottle touch for light, the beer bottle with kerosene in it. And we hear listening to the articulation of the vision that Rosie had for Dominica. And this is the reason why I got involved. One of the reasons why I got involved in politics was to cause Roosevelt to become Prime Minister of this country, so he could have implemented his strategy and his vision for this country. And so, Mr. Speaker, I want to, first of all, commend the Minister for Finance in what the entire nation believes. What the entire nation believes to have been a comprehensive budget. A comprehensive set of policies, programs, legislation, projects, which we believe, the country believes, will continue to spur greater economic growth in Dominica, for the creation of jobs and a better way of life for our citizens. That every person in our country can be given the contentment of a more dignified life, of a more elevated life in our country. That this budget provides hope for our young people. Hope that there's a government that is listening to the people of Dominica. Because all of these ideas that have been articulated in this budget, Mr. Speaker, did not only come from our heads. It came through consultation, engagement of people. And from them, we have been able to respond to their wishes, their ambitions, their goals, their aspirations, and their concerns. And so I want to thank the Minister of Finance, and I thought that he was exceptionally articulate in his presentation, though I believe, Mr. Speaker, he may have been weak at the knees at some point, standing for 3 hours. So I was prepared to hold him up if he was going to fall back to his seat. But he survived the 3 hours and 4 minutes and 53 seconds. But the theme for this year's budget, and I want to say, Mr. Speaker, my contribution this time will be a bit different. In both tone and tenor. But the theme that the Minister of Finance recommended and has presented to the Parliament is, and I quote, balancing resilient development and fiscal discipline for sustainable growth. And this is important in these times, Mr. Speaker. This country knows what adversity is. And this government, based on its experience and its understanding of global events and its study of geopolitics, understands the challenges that lay ahead, but also is aware of the opportunities which exist. And this is why, Mr. Speaker, that there are times you may come out to crease and score 6. But there are times you have to stay in your crease and get the 6 singles. We have always said, and we have demonstrated so in our policies, in our programs, in our projects, in our legislation, that we are responsive to the needs of our people, but at the same time responsible. Because if we are not responsible, we run the risk of creating problems for our country. Problems which none of us in Dominica would be able to bear. And so for us to achieve the desired growth, we have to be fiscally prudent and responsible. You cannot go about, Mr. Speaker, as people know me, I am not a tax person. I don't believe in direct taxation. I don't believe in corporate tax. I don't believe in income tax. I don't believe in withholding taxes. That's my philosophical view. But I cannot impose that on the country and wreck the country's fiscal situation. And therefore, what we have been doing over the years is in an incremental manner, reducing the tax burden on our people. And later I will share with the public some of what we have done. But before I do so, Mr. Speaker, I want to speak about Dominica, 45 years of economic growth, 1980 to 2025. Because I hear pundits saying that there is no growth in Dominica since Labour came in government. Nothing is happening in Dominica. We're not seeing it. They say facts are a stubborn thing. And numbers, Mr. Speaker. I'm a linguistic person, but today I'll do some numbers, Mr. Speaker. So I have taken the liberty of reviewing the growth rates over the last 45 years. And I want to present those to the country. In 1978, just we were wrecked by Hurricane David. And with the political upheaval, political instability of the country, there was a decline of 18.4%. So in 1978, the economy declined by 18.4%. The first 2 years of the Dominica Freedom Party, that is to say 1980 and 1981, the economy grew by 13.4% and 10.8% respectively. So in 1980, 13.4%, and in 1981, 10.8%. Over the next 8 years of the Dominica Freedom Party, that is to say, from 1982 to 1989, the growth rate averaged 4.2%. And in the last 5 years of the DFP, the economy grew by an average of 2.2%. And in its final year, in government, 0%. Now let me go to the 5 and only 5 years of the United Workers' Party. When money was meeting money, they said, Mr. Speaker. In the 5 years of the Workers' Party, the average annual GDP growth rate was 2.6%. 1995, 3%. 1996, 3.6%. 1997, 2.2%. 1998, 3.8%. 1999, 0.4%. With no real natural disasters. The Lenny, I believe, happened in 1999, and we are the ones when they came in government who had to rebuild the country after Lenny. The only thing that happened during that time was a self-inflicted program. So then we came into government in 2000. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, the first 6 years of this government, was austerity program, stabilization program, with the structural adjustment program with the IMF. First, we had a standby arrangement, which is a precursor to a structural adjustment program. Lasted about 2 years. And then we went into a 4-year structural adjustment program with the IMF. So in the first 3 years, the economy struggled with an average growth of 0.3%. That's during the first 3 years of the structural adjustment. Then over the next 6 years, growth climbed to an average of 4.6% per year. 4.6%. In 2000, the economy grew by 5.8%. In 2004, 4.1%. In 2005, 0.9%. We had the earthquake and we had some other issues there in 2005. 2004. 2006, 4.4%. 2007, 5.4%. 2008, 7.1%, Mr. Speaker. 7.1% in 2008. And here comes the financial crisis, which created havoc everywhere in the world. President Obama poured in hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars in the banking sector on Wall Street to save the US economy. Every country that had money and could print money poured in money into the economy to respond to the financial crisis, which lasted from 2009 to about 2015. A prolonged period. In 2009, the global financial crisis forced a period of GDP stagnation. And in 2014, we registered a 2.3% increase. In 2015, Mr. Speaker, Tropical Storm Erica flooded away the assets of the country, valued at 96% of GDP. And 2 years later, and every time I reference Maria, I become emotional, Mr. Speaker. Maria damaged an estimated 226% of our GDP. An island state, Mr. Speaker, being subjected to so much, and yet still see where we are today as a nation. The struggle to find our feet, Mr. Speaker, saw growth rates of 3% in 2008, after Maria, and 3.9% in 2019. So this party in government has been a government of growth. We've always had growth in the economy, except the times of great adversity, shocks we had no control over. Shocks we had no control over. And then came COVID-19. That set us back severely, with a 15.7% decline in 2020. At that time, Mr. Speaker, our revenue dropped by 48%. Our expenditure increased because we had to put all the money into health, to buy test kits, to buy supplies, to pay nurses, to give people free meals every single day, free accommodation every single day. So money not coming in, but bills coming out. And I believe, Mr. Speaker, we're not saying so over any boats. We had one of the most comprehensive systems to treat the COVID-19, Mr. Speaker. We did not allow any stone to remain unturned to save our people, to save our people's lives, and also to save their livelihoods. So, and since 2020, we have since bounced back with an average growth of 6% per year, Mr. Speaker. And it just took too long. COVID lingered until 2023. But because of our policy initiatives, allowing the economy to be open, people go to fish, people go to the markets, people go to the farms, construction work continued during COVID, we allowed the supermarkets to open, we allowed some businesses to open, there was economic activity taking place. We were one of the last countries to close our airport and our ports. I remember the member of Soufriere coming to me with great fear after the first case. And said, Prime Minister, we must close the country. Must close the country. So I said, Minister, but if you're fearful, you should go up and hide. But if I close the country, one case, what's going to happen when you get to 100? You understand? In 2021, Mr. Speaker, and I'm thankful to you, Mr. Speaker. I know you've been admonishing us over the last few days, drawing to our attention the rules. So I'm hoping that I'm within the rules.
You are within the rules.
I'm within the rules.
Because other members have quoted performance in terms of GDP, debt to GDP ratio, and growth and all that.
And my tie is not in violation of the rules either.
No. You can proceed.
I was concerned about I brought an extra tie in case.
No, I heard you came to my office, but I wasn't there. So I figured it's about the tie.
So in 2021, Mr. Speaker, the economy grew by 5.4%. In 2022, during the middle of COVID-19, Mr. Speaker, the economy grew by 10.4%. 10.4%. If you were to ask me, Mr. Speaker, are we where we ought to be as a nation? I'll be first to tell you no. Because you will not need to do anything unless the Lord comes to judge the living and the dead. Because life is evolving. You solve problem A today, problem B and C are on your doorstep. You go to bed and you wake up with COVID-19 affecting your country. You go to sleep and you're woken by flooding in the east. Just to clear landslides in Peter Soufriere and Good Hope and San Sobe, $5.8 million. To take soil from a road, put a dump truck and dump it. $5.8 million. Just like that. In 2023, Mr. Speaker, the economy grew by 4.7%. And in 2024, 3.5%. So there's growth in the economy. And if you want to check the data, you go to the World Bank website. You go to the World Bank. It's not Skerrit numbers, that. World Bank numbers, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, history will record that there is no government in the history of our country, and there's no Caribbean government, Mr. Speaker, Caribbean country, that's had to deal with an unrelenting spate of natural disasters and external shocks like Dominica. We have been responding to COVID, to the financial crisis, to natural disasters for a 12-year span, Mr. Speaker. In my quiet reflections, I asked the Lord, I asked the Lord similar questions which Job asked him. And on top of the 12 years, Mr. Speaker, that we have been subjected to these external shocks, these natural disasters, we spent 6 years to build back the country, to correct the wrongs of the United Workers' Party when they were in government. 6 years. And in the process, the country lost, and the party lost 2 leaders, 2 prime ministers, at the service of the country. So 6 years plus 12 years, 18 years. 18 years, Mr. Speaker. And yet still, this Labour Party in government has had the best economic growth numbers in the history of our country. And one can only imagine, Mr. Speaker, if we did not have Erica, if we did not have Maria, if we did not have COVID to contend with and the international financial crisis. The sheer amount of money that we spend to restore damaged infrastructure, to restore homes, to restore livelihoods, Mr. Speaker. We could have had those monies to build anything now. At the time of Maria, Mr. Speaker, we had over $260 million in the Airport Development Fund. Because it was my desire as the Prime Minister of this country to be able to build the airport in cash. And at the time of Maria, we had $389 million saved. With the hope, Mr. Speaker, with the intention of paying off our national debt, in full. I wanted Dominica to be the first developing country in the world with no national debt, for owing no one. And had it not been for Maria, not even Erica, COVID, Maria, we would have paid off all our national debt. And then what the plan was to go ahead and to create a sustainable development fund with clear legal parameters by an act of parliament. And we would have paid into that sustainable development fund as if we were still paying our loans. On average, we pay interest and principal about $140, $150 million for debt. In 5 years, multiply 140 by 5 and you tell me how much money we would have in the account. And that we would have built our economic independence, Mr. Speaker. But Maria affected this. And so we, in all things, give thanks. And so we give thanks, and we give the Lord thanks for giving us the fortitude and the ability to be able to respond to the impacts of Erica and Maria and COVID-19. And in respect to the GDP, 1980 GDP was 196 million. In 1995, it grew to 741.20 million. So you had a growth of $544 million during the Freedom Party days. An average growth of 36.31%. The UWP came in and met the GDP at 741. They took it to 900 million. A growth of $159.3 million. An average of 31.86 million. We came in 2000, we met it at 900 million. And today, Mr. Speaker, it is projected to go to $2.02 billion. $2.02 billion. With a growth of $1,119 million. An average growth, annual average growth rate of 44.78. So when you're talking about growth, Mr. Speaker, they have to come good. And so I want to highlight a couple measures in the budget, Mr. Speaker. A couple measures in the budget. And this budget is so pregnant with opportunities, Mr. Speaker. Pregnant. And I challenge all people to read it. I want to go to agriculture. And the truth is, Mr. Speaker, there were essentially two budget addresses. One for agriculture and the rest. One for agriculture and the rest. And the reality is, what the Minister of Finance articulated there on the advice of the Minister of Agriculture and the Cabinet on agriculture are just highlights. They're highlights. They didn't factor in all the details. And so I want to say to the Minister for Agriculture that later this year, I will be planting 4 acres of cocoa and limes. 4 acres of cocoa and limes to add to my present cultivation, Mr. Speaker. I won't go for the rebate. No, I'll bypass the rebate. Like this, Skerrit take out money, no, I'll pass the rebate. I'll pass the rebate. But one of the things I want you to highlight, Mr. Speaker, is the 300 acres of land, government land, that have been offered to young farmers, those who are existing and those who want to get into agriculture. So the government, Mr. Speaker, is offering young farmers at an exceptional rate of $1 per acre per year for the first 5 years. And those of us who are farmers know that most things bear fruit within 5 years. And with the technology that they apply, the practices of propagation, coconuts, 18 months, good water, good care, cocoa, 15 months, for good solid crop, 3 years, limes in 12 months, 18 months, trees of food, bananas, 8, 9 months, if it gets enough water, 12 months if it doesn't, ginger, 12 months, turmeric, 12 months. So you're gonna make money over that 5 years there before the government tell you it's $5 per year. You're making money on this thing. And this is, the land is one of the most important components of investing in agriculture. And if you were to buy agricultural land in Wesley, for example, because of the topography, because of the access to roads and services, the land in Wesley is almost residential lots because of access to them. You're talking about, Mr. Speaker, no less than 50,000 for an acre of land in Wesley. So if you go and you lease 3 acres of land, it means, Mr. Speaker, you won't have to find $150,000 plus transfer fees to invest in agriculture. All you have to find, Mr. Speaker, is $3, 3 coins. And you go to the treasury and tell them, look your coins, Mr. Speaker. 3 coins. And most of us have coins all over the house. If you watch in your cup holder, in your vehicle, your coins like joke. So all you have to do is take the 3 coins from his vehicle, jump outside the vehicle, go into the treasury, pay this, get his receipt, and you go. So you move from $150,000, Mr. Speaker, to $3. This is facilitation. This is a government that understands and appreciates what it means to invest in young people. To give you not only a head start, but a jump start, Mr. Speaker. And coupled with that, you get almost free planting material, you get free technical advice, you get free technical support. Opportunities, Mr. Speaker. We're spending $5.7 million in abattoir. 5.7 million. 6.4, everything. $6.4 million in abattoir. And we have articulated in the budget, Mr. Speaker, is available to the private sector. That's where a lawyer, that's where an accountant, That's where somebody who studied marketing at university, that's where somebody who studied agriculture can come together. Hone your skills and your talents and your knowledge, and it is available to you to manage, because the purchase and the sale of chicken parts and pork, the market is there. You don't need no marketing for this thing. You just harvest the chicken and they're on sale. This doctor, this orthopedic surgeon, Dr. George, has said to us that by this year, he will go to 5,000 birds. He's a medical doctor. So what's wrong if a lawyer come in and bring your legal skills and your interest in agriculture? What's wrong if a person with accounting background and agriculture come together, form a company, have the shares, and we're prepared to sit down with you and allow you to manage, because we never believe that the government should run anything, Mr. Speaker. We are a social democratic government. We believe in taking care of social justice, but we also believe that the private sector must be allowed to invest and manage economic things. So we invest in this thing because the private sector won't go there. So we put in the infrastructure and hand it over to the private sector to manage and make money for themselves and for the country. So it's important, Mr. Speaker, that we push this forward. And of course, the incentives, added incentives, the rebates that, and I'll just read one of it. Farmers investing in housing and infrastructure for poultry, minimum 5,000 broilers, including stock and feed, will receive a rebate of 40% of cost up to a maximum of $20,000. So you get the land, you put the fowl cage, you get technical advice because we'll give you all the drawings as to how to build the fowl cage. That's free. And then you'll still get a rebate if you meet these minimum standards. I'm just highlighting this thing. And then we have the housing. And I have heard some people criticize me in particular, and the government by extension, about its investment in housing. And I've taken note of some of the criticisms. Some of them are not misplaced or unfair, but people have to understand that to get economic growth, you must push construction. Because in building homes, people are employed. You buy from the private sector, money flowing in the economy, in the villages. You build skills, you enhance people's skills. We have seen, because of the housing revolution, people who could not put a block can put up blocks. Some of them playing too much big contractors these days, but I mean, so they put a pencil over their head there and so on and so forth. There are little contractors in the village. But what we have done, Mr. Speaker, some of the things that we have done with housing is concerned, which sometimes we don't pay attention to, is that it is us in the government, and we say so with humility, Mr. Speaker. It is us in the government, because of our housing policies, that have forced the commercial banks and the credit unions to reduce on the interest rates to our people. When we came into government in 2000, to build a house, you had to find a 10% and 11% interest. Mr. Speaker, the first time Dominicans saw and benefited from low interest rates was when we put monies at 4% at the Government Housing Loan Board and 5% at the Aid Bank with a 6 months grace period. We saw the banks reduce their interest rate from 10 to 9, and they go 7. Today you can get an interest of 5.99%. Because we have pushed them. And the first time Dominicans will enjoy a 2% interest rate on mortgages, Mr. Speaker, it is because of this budget address, Mr. Speaker. And I want to use some numbers today. The numbers there. I have a police officer, he's Imran Joseph, Mr. Speaker. I'm like, I hope the Chief Police appoints him as a corporal or something. So, a police officer, Mr. Speaker, under this 2% loan, with 6 months grace period, let me show you something, Mr. Speaker. Let me turn words into numbers. And let us turn those words into what is actual benefits to the people of this country, Mr. Speaker. So, this police officer goes to the Government Housing Board and applies for a loan of $400,000 at 2%. But his counterpart, who went ahead of him to build and now has a 7% interest rate, he had a difference between the two of them. Monthly payment at 2%, Mr. Speaker, Imran will pay $1,470 a month. At 2%, his counterpart will pay $2,661 a month. At 7%. At 7%, his counterpart will pay $2,661 a month. Total interest over a 30-year period. So a 30-year period. Oh, he's young. 30-year period. Total interest that he will pay is $132,252 over the 30-year period. His counterpart, with a 7%, Mr. Speaker, will pay $558,036. I tell you, numbers are a joke. It's there, 2%, 6 months, okay, yeah. But here is the real impact, Mr. Speaker. Here is the real impact on people, Mr. Speaker. So he can build his house, he can buy some groceries, and he can send his child to school. And so building will not be a burden and an impossibility, Mr. Speaker. And so the monthly savings, that's money we're keeping in his pocket every month, Mr. Speaker, is $1,183. $1,183 monthly savings, Mr. Speaker. There's nothing that can beat assisting people with the cost of living than those kinds of savings, Mr. Speaker. And the total savings on interest over the 30-year period is $425,784. That is money we keep in his pocket over a 30-year period. Had he taken the loan at 7%, he would not have that, Mr. Speaker. So when people say, what's Skerrit and Labour Party doing? These are the kinds of life-changing, positive impacts on families and individuals, and in that case, police and public officers, Mr. Speaker, we are. And if you go to a 300K, 300,000 at 30 years, monthly payment, $1,109 for a 2%. A 7% is $1,996. Total interest on the 2%, $99,189. Total interest on the 7% is $418,527. Monthly savings, $887. Total savings on interest over the 30-year period is $319,338. You know what I'm saying? Somebody told me, Mr. Speaker, the best economist is a housewife. That's what they told me, Mr. Speaker. And if you go to I'll give you a 20-year, because some people, because of their age, may have to do a 20-year plan. So $300,000, Mr. Speaker, and I'll go to 9%. So you take a loan of $300,000 over a 20-year period. On the 9%, your monthly payment will be $2,699. That's 9%. On the 2% is $1,518. Total interest on the 9% is $347,803. And total interest on that 20-year mortgage of $300,000 at 2% is $64,236. Over the 20-year period of the loan, Mr. Speaker, the public servant is saving over $283,000 in interest. This is the kind of policies. So they're not policies, Mr. Speaker, that you wake up one morning and just know. These are clearly thought of policies. But these are policies, Mr. Speaker, that come out of the minds of the Dominican people. We meet people, Mr. Speaker. They tell us what their dreams and aspirations are. They tell us what the challenges are. And so, yes, some people say, well, Skerrit, you should not give people a house for free. I accept that. And I think we need to look next year, after we hand over those homes in December, to see how much people should pay something on the house. I accept that. But there's also good reason why we are spending money on housing. Because we have to address within our society social injustice. We have to ensure that we can close the gap between those who do not have and those who have. We have a duty to those who cannot afford. And likewise, we have a duty to the public officers and police officers and the private sector people who, for one reason or the other, based on their take-home payment, will be able to have a mortgage. But by facilitating them in that way, Mr. Speaker, you're getting them the opportunity to live dignified lives by being able to build a home and call it home. Nothing beats that kind of feeling when you can open your house and go in your house, Mr. Speaker. And we have to, as a nation, we must never be grudgeful of anybody who has benefited. We must, as a nation, ensure that we continue to work to facilitate one way or the other of people owning their homes. And we could talk about the lands that we've sold and we're selling at highly concessionary rates. Next door to government land, people are buying lots at $12 a square foot. The government land is better, more access because we have roads, we have water, we have light. $5, $5.10, $7. And you know, if you buy a lot at 9,000 square feet and you save $1 on it, Mr. Speaker, you can do the maths. Far more for if you save $3, $5 and $10, you can do the difference. That's your foundation we're giving you. That's your roof we're giving you. That's all your doors and your tiles we're giving you. This is what we're doing. And so I want to get this. The other point I want to raise, Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, sir, is on the issue of education. Education. And the housing program is called OK2HP. You tell some people love that thing too, Mr. Speaker. This thing is the most popular term in Dominica. OK2HP. Yes, boy. Boy. You know what I mean? People love that thing, Mr. Speaker. I can say, boy, let me go see that OK2HP there, boy, because I want my house. That's the kind of language Dominicans talk in these days. They're the most popular stuff. Education reform, Mr. Speaker. I believe it's important that we continue on this path of reforming education, to reposition our education system to better provide for our children and to better prepare the country for taking advantage of the opportunities. And I'm happy that we're starting the process. Obviously, it's a journey. But we believe, Mr. Speaker, that in an era where everyone has access to information, Our system should not be preoccupied with a knowledge-based performance system, because you can type in anything and get information. What we need to build among our children and our society is people with analytical skills, critical thinking, collaboration, cooperation, empathy, their commitment to family and their responsibility to their family, their responsibilities to the environment, entrepreneurial skills to be able to come out of school and to use what you have learned to make money for yourself, to see the opportunity where others don't see them, to position yourself. So we're not saying that we have not made tremendous progress and success in our education system. But after a while, everything has to be relooked, and this is what we're seeking to do in there. And also, Mr. Speaker, with the State College. We created the State College in 2002. By the time when it came to government, 7 out of 100 students who studied the CXC had access to the college. 7 out of 100. Because of the government's consolidation of the colleges and putting policies in place to enhance access to college, 100% today. And what I start at the graduation, and I remember some years ago, Mr. Speaker, there was a lady who worked in the government system. She must have been in her late 40s, early 50s. And she's the Prime Minister. I always wanted to be a nurse all my life, but I never got the opportunity. And she left the public service at that age and went and studied at the State College and became a nurse. I saw a gentleman, Mr. Greenaway. Greenaway must be in his 50s, maybe 56, thereabout. He should be older than me, I hope. He graduated with an associate degree. He graduated with an associate degree, Mr. Speaker. And if this is not progress, then I don't know what it is. We have caused people in Dominica, irrespective of their age, irrespective of their economic circumstance, irrespective of social standing, to be able to say, I want to go to school. And there are opportunities created and facilitated by this government. And I challenge anybody in Dominica who has a degree today, check the date you got it. And you will see that the majority of you got help from the government. The few of you who didn't, you were motivated by the government. Boy, Skerrit talking about university, but let me go and see what happened in there, boy. And you go and you apply and you go to school. And your parents will tell you, you hear the government saying, you hear the government telling you go and study. You heard the government saying that's what they say. So they teach parents. That's what we've done. When we came into government, Mr. Speaker, there was no teacher in the entire Commonwealth of Dominica at the primary school level with a university degree, or even an associate degree, Mr. Speaker. Those who went and did the degree, for it came back and sent to high school, to secondary school to teach. And I said, no, that cannot happen. Primary school is one of the most important levels of the education system. No, let's keep them there and pay them the same salaries, Mr. Speaker. And all of a sudden, Mr. Speaker, based on the government's policy initiative and facilitation, the primary schools are having an impact on the climatic conditions of Dominica. Too many degrees in the primary school. People have degrees. Degrees, Mr. Speaker. Because this government decided to change the policy consideration of the country and to say that we need, if you go and study, you should stay in the primary school system. And that's how we end up. And at the secondary school is 1-2-1-2 what a degree. 1-2-1-2. Today, I believe maybe everybody, if not all people at the secondary school, maybe 90%, at the secondary schools have degrees. Have degrees. That's what we have done, Mr. Speaker. And so, to further facilitate our students' access higher education and to ensure that they prepare themselves for the economy that we're building for them, with the opportunities that are available and those to come, Mr. Speaker, we are putting $2 million at the aid bank at 2%. So you have technical skills, you want to go and do engineering, surveying, plumbing, arc welding, you want to get a certificate, you can get the money from that. And let me give you a situation, Mr. Speaker, of what that will translate to in terms of benefit to the young person. Now let me give it to you. If you take a loan of $200,000, student loan, and with a repayment term of 10 years, the monthly payment is $1,840 compared to 8%, which currently exists at the banks in Dominica, where you will pay $2,427. Total interest over the 10-year period at 2%, $20,832. And total interest at 8% for the period is $91,186. Monthly savings of $587, and total savings on interest $70,354. These are the kind of real savings, Mr. Speaker, we're giving. And if you take a student loan of $300,000, monthly payment on 2% will be $2,760. Compared to the 8% you get at commercial banks, you're paying $3,640. The total monthly savings is $879, and the total savings on interest of a student loan of $300,000 over a 10-year repayment period is $105,531. So these are the kinds of investments you're making in the people. This is kind of a facilitation, Mr. Speaker. And at no time in our history of our country, Mr. Speaker, we have had that kind of investment in our people. And I'm not even going to talk about the schools, the minister spoke about that, or the colleagues spoke about that, the schools that we made in the 7 schools. I'm not going to talk about the investment that we've made in education before. I'm not going to talk about the TVET because the minister spoke about TVET. There are a number of very positive things taking place in the education system, Mr. Speaker. In respect to jobs, this budget, on my maths, will create some 4,000 jobs. 4,000 jobs over the next 4 years, Mr. Speaker. 4,000 jobs over the next 4 years. International airport, 450. The cable car, 200. The Portsmouth Marina, 70. Geothermal, 120. Stay over tourism, 250. Cruise tourism, 200. Digital IT services, 300. Retail, 150. Other services, 242. Agriculture, 1,200. Manufacturing, 200. Infrastructure, roads, 200. Infrastructure, housing, 250. Infrastructure, education, 75. Infrastructure, health, 50. The film industry, 300. Over 4,000 jobs over the next 4 years. The other thing I want to speak about, Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, sir, is the fiscal responsibility which I intimated in my introductory comments. Because we remain, and by the way, on the housing stuff, Mr. Speaker, on the housing stuff there, I just want to make a little point, if you allow me. On the housing stuff there, and I want to, on the housing stuff, Mr. Speaker, the, the benefits to the people. And this government policy, that's what you call a concrete pillar. A concrete pillar, Mr. Speaker, with reinforced steel. That's not a pillar made of grass and mud, Mr. Speaker. That's a structural beam and pillar, Mr. Speaker, that can stand fiscal discipline and also spur economic growth, Mr. Speaker. That don't this little vetiver mud and pillar, Mr. Speaker. No, they're serious pillars, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, notwithstanding all of the challenges we've had with the structural adjustment of the IMF, with all of the natural disasters, the external shocks, the pandemic, we've always tried our best by way of practical policy statements and initiatives to ensure that we create an environment in Dominica that can make living affordable for people. We're not fully here because we have to deal with challenges of importing inflation. But our mission has been, Mr. Speaker, to make more money available, more disposable income available to the people by way of our tax system, our income tax system. And just to give you some statistics, Mr. Speaker, as I said, our GDP in 2000 was 900 million. 2025 is 2,020 million. The total tax revenue of 2000 is 241 million. 2025 is 1.1 billion. Income tax, Mr. Speaker, in 2000 was 64.09 million. In 2025 is 64.55. Total tax revenue, Mr. Speaker, was 182 million in 2000, is 443.9 million in 2025. Income tax to GDP ratio in 2000 was 7%, and in 2025 it is 3%. Means that we are allowing people to keep more of their money, Mr. Speaker. I'll explain the details to that. Income tax to tax revenue ratio in 2000 was 27%. 2025, it is 6%. Total tax revenue to total tax ratio in 2000 was 75%. 2025 is 40%. When we took office in 2000, because I'm saying this because, Mr. Speaker, just to remind, to use contemporary history to remind our people. When we came into office in 2000, Dominicans were burdened with an income tax rate of 40%, Mr. Speaker. 40%. And over the years, we have consistently removed the income tax burden on people. So that they keep more of their money to do whatever they wish in it. And I'll give you an example, Mr. Speaker. In 2000, income tax on a monthly salary of $2,500 was $300. In 2025, it is down to zero. There is no income tax on salaries of $2,500 or less. In 2000, income tax on a monthly salary of $3,000 was $450. In 2025, it is down to $75. In 2000, income tax on a monthly salary of $6,000 was $1,450. In 2025, it is down to $708. In 2000, an annual mortgage interest allowance for personal income tax calculations was $12,000, Mr. Speaker. In 2025, it is up to $30,000. We are taking it from $12,000 to $25,000, and 2 years ago we took it to $30,000, Mr. Speaker. So the $18,000 increase in the mortgage interest allowance means that employees with that benefit earning monthly salaries of 6,000, who would have paid 975 per month in income tax in 2000, are only paying today on a 6,000 salary, taking into consideration the mortgage, $150 tax, Mr. Speaker. And if that person has insurance, and if that person has a student loan, it's down to about $30 a month, Mr. Speaker. So on a salary of $6,000, you're paying $30 tax, income tax in Dominica, which means that you're going home with all your money, Mr. Speaker. And someday, you will go with all your money, Mr. Speaker. That's what you're doing. That's what it is. And in 2000, Mr. Speaker, people who had worked all their lives, pensioners, were being taxed. And I was there, Mr. Speaker, I never realized that the pensions were being taxed. So that was brought to my attention in 2008. I said, well, that's unfair to the people. And in 2008, we came to Parliament and we removed income tax on all pensioners' money, Mr. Speaker. All. There's no pension in Dominica paying income tax in Dominica since 2008, but they paid from 2008 way back, Mr. Speaker. Some of them at 40%, some at 45%, and some at 15 or 20%. Taking a little money from people who work
25 minutes, 25 minutes.
It's okay. At some point, Mr. Speaker. That's what we have been able to do, Mr. Speaker. And so we go to the cost of living issue, and I want to speak about the VAT removal. That we added items. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Health messaged me, and he told me that he encountered some ladies and they told him about some additional items to add. And so when we draft the legislation, we'll add them. He told me panty liners, menstrual discs, menstrual cups, and tampons. They said to us, I mean, this sanitary napkin is an old-time thing, Mr. Speaker, so we added the modern stuff, Mr. Speaker. So we adding these things to it, Mr. Speaker. But I see the member of South will tell you thank you, Minister. So, Mr. Speaker, this is what the Minister for Finance said in respect to these items. And interestingly, Mr. Speaker, when other countries do the same list, oh, see what they do in other countries, what's Skerrit them doing, what they were doing. We come and do the same list, and these people criticizing us saying, no, healthy food. Yes. But what is wrong with corned beef? I don't eat corned beef, Mr. Speaker, but when I eat corned beef, I used to love corned beef. I'm corned beef on white rice, Mr. Speaker, corned beef on macaroni and cheese. I mean, yes, I'm saying, you take a salad, Mr. Speaker, you squeeze a lime over that, and you put a cucumber in that, Mr. Speaker. You tell me that Dominica is not eating sardine, Mr. Speaker? You mad? I have seen people they don't take out the sardines from the tin because and people want to stretch it and they put mayonnaise in that, Mr. Speaker. You telling me about Dominica not eating corned beef and tuna, but they're not healthy? Everything is healthy, Mr. Speaker. But everything must be eaten in moderation. But the same people who are saying, Mr. Speaker, that we should not remove the VAT and import duties on these goods are the same people who chastise us for increasing the excise tax on sugary drinks, Mr. Speaker. The same people who told us that we increase the excise tax on sugary drinks and alcohol and cigarettes. So cigarettes not bad, Mr. Speaker. But corned beef, macaroni and cheese, Weetabix, Almond milk. Orange juice bad. Don't drink orange juice. Maybe sound be like bad and that'll kill you. I have never seen a small group of people who are so upset when something is happening for the people of Dominica. Now, Mr. Speaker, mind you, I don't eat any canned food, Mr. Speaker. I don't eat any canned, anything I don't do in can or something. But I appreciate that the vast majority of Dominicans consume those goods. Left to me personally, I believe we should maybe ban sugar or put but people, you cannot have sugar in the country. A man need, Mr. Speaker, ice cream nice. But you shouldn't eat too much ice cream, but you can tell a man don't eat ice cream after lunch. A nice coconut ice cream from Sean Douglas. So I mean, well, you can't tell a man don't eat the cake. You tell a man don't eat a slice of cake. The man getting married, the man getting his birthday. You tell him he can't eat a slice of cake on his birthday because he has sugar in it? No. But you tell him don't eat sugar, don't eat a cake every day. But to tell the country a big post, toothpaste is bad, Mr. Speaker? Toothpaste? This is something else. I mean, cream of wheat? Mr. Speaker, cornmeal, I mean, when I make my cornmeal, I put the cinnamon leaves in it, Mr. Speaker. I put the cinnamon in it, I take a little nutmeg, I put in that. You know what I'm saying? And I boil that, I use my coconut milk, my fresh coconut milk, and I make my cornmeal. Man, they said you don't like cornmeal, she didn't cornmeal every day, Mr. Speaker. You understand? Man, some of the raise up eating pancakes and it. My cornmeal time was scary, but now she got, I make cornmeal, she want cornmeal too. You tell me black eyed peas? Black eyed peas and rice? You tell me no? To keep VAT on it, and you're telling us, in essence, Mr. Speaker, these elements are telling us to increase the VAT on these items. Because if you're opposed to decreasing it or removing it, then you support increasing it. Logical deduction. And so, Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Health, so for the Minister of Finance, Honorable Dr. McIntyre said, Mr. Speaker, that it is important that we also examine our consumption habits. While government has taken steps to ease the burden, there are additional ways in which we as individuals and households can reduce expenses. The Minister of Finance went on to say, one such measure is the revitalization of backyard gardening, which can provide fresh vegetables and herbs year-round, lower food bills, and promote healthier eating. We also encourage citizens to purchase local produce, which is often more affordable and fresher than imported alternatives. That's what the government said, Mr. Speaker. But the government cannot be indifferent to the concerns of the public. Our original view was to reduce the VAT by 0.5%, but there was a prevailing view that better we increase the basket of goods, and I believe that maybe have been a better decision, Mr. Speaker. And I have seen Astefan, J. Astefan, I will thank them, and I'm sure the others will follow, publishing what will be the new prices, Mr. Speaker. And a housewife knows that when she goes to the supermarket, every dollar she can save, Mr. Speaker, is a dollar in their pocket. Because dollar plus dollar, Mr. Speaker, last time I used some idiom, Mr. Speaker, and it's a Skerrit can count. So I have to be careful, Mr. Speaker. Like I say 1 plus 1 is 11, Mr. Speaker. You understand? So every dollar counts. As a housewife, the average family, when they go to shop, they have their list. They stick to the list. They watch the price. They put something down. It's too expensive. They take an alternative. People are watching their dollar. And if the government can give people relief, everybody should be shouting, hooray, for the people of Dominica. Well done, the government. It's a good start. There may be other things that you can do. Let's make the suggestions. But to criticize and to curse the candle in the dark, is not being helpful to the citizens of Dominica. Not helpful, Mr. Speaker. And so this is what we have done, and we continue to do it. In respect to the minimum wage, Mr. Speaker, all of us have a view about minimum wage. We have a view of what it might be. But the law prescribes a process. The law prescribes a process, Mr. Speaker. In chapter 8906, 05, section 61 of the Labor Standards Act allows the minister to appoint an advisory board, a committee, Mr. Speaker, to advise him on what should be a minimum wage. And the law goes on to say that there should be equal representation of employees and employers. And the reason why you have this is because the minimum wage is controlled by law. But in the public service and other entities where they are not subjected to this act, the unions and the government rep, or the unions and the owners of the company meet and they negotiate. And so you cannot go and increase the minimum wage without consultation, Mr. Speaker. Because when we believe, because this, when you talk about minimum wage, Mr. Speaker, the last time the minimum wage was increased was in 1989 by the Freedom Party. And in 2008, we increased the minimum wage. And in 2021, we went further and increased it even more, Mr. Speaker. And when the Minister for Labour, Honorable Blackmore, was presenting in the Parliament, we made a commitment to the country that every 3 years we shall review the minimum wage in Dominica. That is why there was supposed to be a review in 2023, but because of COVID, we got distracted, Mr. Speaker. And so, yes, I could say what it is, but we will not be respecting the rule of law. So when the Workers' Party got this recommendation in 1997, it followed the law. All fairness to them, they followed the law. They appointed a committee as per the law, Mr. Speaker. But unfortunately for them and for the workers of Dominica, unfortunately for the workers of Dominica, the working people of Dominica, they sat on the report from 1997, 1998, 1999, and the whole of January of 2000. And they did nothing. They did nothing. And so, by October of this year, we expect there to be new minimum wage rates in Dominica. As a matter of fact, Mr. Speaker, the categories were increased by us. There were a number of workers in the 2008 change, which were not captured, and that was brought to us by cashiers when we went to the cashing booth, cashing table, cashier's desk. They said, Prime Minister, we're not on the minimum wage thing. They're not paying us the minimum wage. And the minister came back to the cabinet and said, Prime Minister, cabinet, we have to change this. We have to increase those categories. We increase those categories, Mr. Speaker. Blackmore has been a champion of minimum wage in Dominica. And he came back and we changed it and we included a number of categories, cashiers and attendants and hotel workers. And come 2025, October 1, there will be a new minimum wage structure in Dominica. That's what we're doing. We're doing it properly and responsibly, Mr. Speaker. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. And in respect to health, Mr. Speaker, there's no government that has invested more in health care than this government. None. None, Mr. Speaker. At present, at the hospital, Mr. Speaker, the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, we have about 650 employees working at just the hospital, Mr. Speaker. Yes, there are times when you go to the hospital, you may not have gotten care. We understand that when we take a note of those things. But when you look at the overall care and services at the hospital, we're not doing too badly, Mr. Speaker. But we want to be perfect. Yes, I agree with that. Everybody must get the best care. And so we've responded by proposing a restructuring of the management structure of the hospital, by ensuring that all of the consultants are fully appointed, by changing the wage structure for the consultants and house doctors, ensuring that their wages are competitive in comparison to those in the region, Mr. Speaker. To ensure that the doctors who do not have private practice, that they're given an allowance, that is an inducement allowance, Mr. Speaker, that will be substantial enough to cause them to remain at the service of the public system. We have changed the structure of nursing, Mr. Speaker. We have more nursing positions and more upward mobility for nurses, all in an effort to motivate them, Mr. Speaker. And I want to say to my friends at the laundry and the grounds and the kitchen, you will be part of that improvement, Mr. Speaker. But we have to do better as citizens in so far as taking care of ourselves. There are some things that will come to the hospital for that they can fetch it at the health centers. You understand what I'm saying? You have to do it. We used to have one ophthalmologist, Mr. Speaker, one eye care specialist at the hospital. One for so many years. And even when that person was going to retirement, people thought that we were in trouble. Today we have 3, Mr. Speaker. 3. And we have 3 orthopedic surgeons, too many for a small country like ours, but we have 3 because we want to ensure that at any given time you have an orthopedic surgeon if you have an accident. We have 3 gynecologists, Mr. Speaker. 3. So we're not unmindful. In respect to supply and service, Mr. Speaker, what we're seeking to do is to have the system properly digitalized. Because today we shouldn't have a doctor writing on a piece of paper and sending downstairs. You should go on a computer and see what drug is available. Because Mr. when they say there's no drug available, they may not have the specific drug that the doctor wants, but there will be 3 or 4 others that you can use to treat the patient. Because it's like painkillers, paracetamol, ibuprofen, cocodamol. I mean, you're different ones. But if you take any one of them, Mr. Speaker, it will make your headache go away. But if you have it centralized and digitalized, anywhere in the country, a medical practitioner who's supposed to have access to the system can see what we have available. And what we have done, that is to say the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Health, is that we have created an account that monies are deposited into every month to ensure the Ministry of Health has access to money to buy supplies at any given time, Mr. Speaker, to address the issue of supplies and time.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to move that the Prime Minister be given 30 more minutes to complete his presentation.
Seconded, Mr. Speaker.
It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Prime Minister given an additional 30 minutes. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it. Honorable Prime Minister, you are given an additional 30 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Mr. Speaker, thank you, Honorable Dr. Henderson. I mean, this is what we're doing, Mr. Speaker. And when we came into government, Mr. Speaker, we didn't have an ICU in Dominica, you know. Remember for Marigot? We didn't have an ICU. And not having an ICU in a hospital is like a vehicle with no engine. And I'm saying to myself, well, what happened to us prior to 2005? And if you go to the hospital today, Mr. Speaker, not only do we have an ICU, a main ICU, there are ICU in the wards. No longer are patients in an open hall like in a military hospital. You go to the hospital, everybody knows the private space, 2 or 3 people. Improving the standards. Improving the standards, Mr. Speaker. But you always have challenges, because one of the issues we have in Dominica is that we're not taking care of ourselves. And sometimes people wait last minute to go to the doctor at the hospital. They know the people go on chat GDP and they try to solve the problem, they text and so. But when McIntyre gets a little hot, Mr. Speaker, he doesn't do it himself. I'm calling McIntyre, even if he's a vet, to stitch him up. I mean, am I lying, Dr. Mark? No, he's So we're making progress. So I want to assure Dominicans that this government will never turn a deaf ear to their concerns, Mr. Speaker. Never. I can say to them that we discussion in cabinet, almost every cabinet on these issues, and seeking to ensure that we address the issues as company people. Same with the solid waste issue. We don't go and hide. We take responsibility, Mr. Speaker. People know me. I don't pass on a responsibility. We sit and we discuss the problem in a dispassionate way, and based on advice, based on consultation with the public, we take a decision. This is why we have decided to decentralize the disposal sites to eventually win ourselves off the stock farm facility and have separate facility for tires and for derelict vehicles. This is why we're going to be using local government authorities to assist us in the decentralization or the management of collections so it will be more timely. We're getting 2 trucks on Friday, it was delayed. We're getting another 4 in early October. We're also buying 4 tipper trucks and we'll be deploying them. So a truck will be in Granby, for example, in Mao, Mr. Speaker, we'll give a truck to Portsmouth, in La Plaine, so that the truck doesn't have to go from Roseau to Granby, come back. The truck is in Granby, so anything you see garbage, they'll pick it up and bring it. We have everyday stuff. The garbage in Mao market will not be there for 2 days because they'll have a truck. There'll be an arrangement between the Solid Waste Corporation and the local authority there to enhance the management, to enhance the collection. But at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, there's a responsibility on our part. If you come to Vekas, Mr. Speaker, I have a compost heap. If you go to Mont Daniel, I have a compost heap. And if you go to my kitchen, Mr. Speaker, there's a pail. There's a basin. All perishable items must go in that pail. And it is taken to the farm. And if I go home and I see people dumping stuff in the main garbage thing, I get upset. And this is why you realize in Vekas, in my constituency, I made it clear to people, I don't want to see garbage outside the oil. When we hear the truck, we put it outside. If it's a false alarm, we put it back inside. This idea of people putting garbage outside and waiting for somebody to pick it up, no. We have to do better than that. And this indiscriminate dumping of garbage and us taking for garbage from a vehicle and put it inside of the road is not acceptable. It is not acceptable when I drive on Picard, the entrance of the Coconut Beach, that people are dumping garbage right there. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable that we are taking garbage and dumping it from the plastic bag. We have to speak about our individual responsibility to our country. Yes, the government will have to do what they have to do. Yes, we have to improve the management of the solid waste. Yes, we have to put more resources to the solid waste. I accept that. But the way I see things, Mr. Speaker, no matter how much resources you give to solid waste, unless people change their attitude and behavior to the environment, we'll have a problem. So we have to do better than that, Mr. Speaker. We are better than that as a nation, as a people. We pride ourselves on cleanliness, on beauty and beautification, Mr. Speaker. We need to maintain that so that we can explain and to our children, which we can learn from us, Mr. Speaker. They can learn from us, Mr. Speaker. Now we even spoke about the private sector facilitation, Mr. Speaker. The idea of the Roosevelt. And I did add Portsmouth, member for Portsmouth in this program, where all of these abandoned properties, where people want to acquire them, to invest in Dominica, we will facilitate you by acquiring those properties in the public interest, where families cannot agree, where you do not know who owns it. The state will intervene in Portsmouth, the state will intervene in Roseau and acquire those properties so we can eliminate those abandoned lots, those unsighted buildings in our city and our town, and to create greater economic activity, Mr. Speaker. And there is case law for this all the way to the Privy Council, that the state can acquire any property in the public interest and sell to the private sector. That happened in Antigua, and there's a case law on the Privy Council in this matter. So if you're a family and you're property in Roseau or in Portsmouth, and somebody is asking you to sell it to them, and brother cannot agree and sister cannot agree, call the government. We'll intervene. Because that's one of the ways we're going to have to address the issue. Yes, the road enhancement project will enhance the city and the ambience of the city, the aesthetics of the city, the beauty of the city. But you can have the nicest roads, covered sidewalks, nice street lights, and then you have old building there, abandoned lot there, this there, not going to work. There must be a comprehensive, holistic approach to this. That we need to paint our buildings. I don't think it is fair for people who wait for a power rep to go and paint a building in town. No, or the city, no. We must paint our buildings as homeowners in the city and across Dominica. We must clean in front of our businesses and our homes. Back in the days, Mr. Speaker, every morning people take out the J's and clean in front of their homes, Mr. Speaker, in front of their yard, in front of businesses. Where is that? Why should we expect the government to be doing it for us all of the time? Where's the government getting the monies for this? No, Mr. Speaker, there's something that we have to do better. We have to have a greater sense of pride. This is what makes us different, Mr. Speaker. And so I'm challenging us to get on board in this. And so in respect to Blue Bay Water bottling plant, there's a private investor who wants to invest in this, and the state will move in, compulsory required, and the person will pay the money. So it is not a situation the government buying and give to them, no. The government will acquire and they will pay the precise amount that's been paid by the government. We've done it before to other private sector entities here in Dominica. It's nothing new, Mr. Speaker. And this is what we will be doing. And so, Mr. Speaker, there are a number of positive things happening. I think to Mr. Speaker, listen to Dominican people. They really did not expect so much. Because the reality is, human beings generally are reasonable creatures. And sometimes we don't give people enough credit for their ability to think and to be critical with their thinking. And people know the world that we're facing with. People know the challenges that the world is going through. And they know what the government can do and cannot do. And for a government to come in 2025 with such ambitious programs and projects and policy initiatives, the people are saying this is something else. And this is why everybody thinks, Mr. Speaker, that election, because they say that only an election time you can get a budget like that. So many goodies, so many things in there that are giving people hope and confidence when they were feeling a bit dejected, that the government has been able to renew their confidence and trust in our country, their country, Mr. Speaker. And that is what we sought to do. But we're doing so, Mr. Speaker, with the understanding, underlying principle of prudence and responsibility. We can't be reckless. We have to be prudent, Mr. Speaker, because the moment we become reckless, we crash everything and everybody will be affected. Let us just reflect on the austerity measures, the IMF program, Mr. Speaker, and how painful it was. Painful it was. Please can recall 2, 3 o'clock in the morning we're still in cabinet. Painful. And there are times I told the IMF people, when you guys go to Washington, all you're going to watch from the TV is protesting. They go, no, we're not going to those prescriptions. So we have to push back a number of things on them. They say to catch a flight, they say you can change your flight. But no, we're not going. So 2, 3 o'clock we're there because they want to catch a flight next morning. The same morning to go back home. No, we're not agreeing to certain things. We push back on them many times. But the reality is, Mr. Speaker, as has happened in a country in Africa, if you follow bad prescription, Mr. Speaker, prescriptions that tells you to erode your tax base, erode your earning powers as a government, and not addressing the issue of expenditure, this is a fast track. You know when you go to the airport, there's a fast track line? They're a fast-track line to the IMF, Mr. Speaker. There's no doubt about it. And I'm not saying so to scare anybody. I'm setting the record straight. I'm setting the facts. And the IMF policies, Mr. Speaker, and the World Bank policies, Mr. Speaker, and that of the CDB, that if you borrow money from the CDB, from the World Bank, from the IMF, and you default, you go straight to the IMF. Automatically. These entities don't restructure loans for you. They don't give you debt forgiveness. When we were restructuring our debt during the period, Mr. Speaker, I had to work with Compton Bond, the then president. And in order for him to give us a better term, they had to find grants, Mr. Speaker, to help us. Grants. They will never restructure loans for you. So this notion, and there's no government, no entity, Senator Roll, who's going to give you money for recurrent expenditure. The World Bank has a facility, so does the CDB, for budget support. But in every one of these institutions, there's an allocation. There's a maximum. And so that may help you for 1 month. But what's going to happen to you next month? And the ensuing months? This will be, Mr. Speaker, an economic meltdown and a shared poverty agenda. We have to be responsible. This is not about throwing things at people. We could come here and throw things at people, but we know that if we throw things at people that we can't afford, it is going to affect them down the road. So to sustain the NEP, which is about $5 million a year, we have to be responsible. A month. To continue to help our people build their homes and to continue to help the private sector and to set the infrastructure in, the roads. If you're going to cut, if you're going to reduce on your tax base, if you're going to eliminate taxes, you have to cut. And when you're cutting in the government system, Mr. Speaker, like any other business, you cut things that are inescapable. And you start with policies. So you start 65 over, cut. NEP, out. Educational assistance, end. Housing program, finibat. Funeral grants, no way. Take your family, wrap them in a white cloth, bury them next to Mr. Speaker. Overseas hospital care, we can't afford it. You'll die in Dominica because the facility, your matter requires a higher level of consideration. These are I'm not scared, these are the facts, Mr. Speaker. And then after you deal with all the policies, you look at your wage bill. And don't mind a PSA was she appointed and she creature the Constitution or this person saying. The Parliament can limit the number of such positions. And the Parliament can cause any position in the public service to become redundant, except those specified in the Constitution, the Director of Audit, and the Chief Elections Officer, and the likes. But any position that's created by the Public Service Act can be eliminated. And transfers to other non-government entities, to the Catholic Church for school, to Seventh-day Adventists for the school in Portsmouth. We have to call the superintendent of the Seventh-day Church and say, sir, sorry, we only have $5. We have to cut. And it's going to affect students now. And the learning. So what we have prescribed there, and what we have been prescribing over the last 25 years, is a government that is aware, a government that is mindful of the country's challenges, the government is aware of the dreams, aspirations, and concerns of the public, and has been responsive in those areas. But a government that also has displayed prudence and responsibility. Prudence and responsibility, that's crucial. And it's no different, member of Solvay, from you as a wife, as the one managing the finances of the home. You have to take a pen and paper. What your husband bring in, what you bring in, what you have to subtract, and say, this is what we have for groceries. This is what you have for lights. This is what we have for water. The moment if your husband doesn't work for a week, you're challenged, don't you? Because you have lost your income for a week. It's going to affect you. You have to start cutting something now. So instead of eating bread and cheese and cheddar cheese, bread and avocado, which is nice. I mean, I used to call it poor man's butter. But you'll be forced to eat it, not by choice, you'll be forced to eat it. And so we have to be responsible. And I urge the opposition to join us, the opposition in the parliament, to join us in an effort to advance this country's development and to allow for greater prosperity for the people. And I invite anyone who wants to join this party. This party has been a party, a government of inclusion. This country is small. This country needs all the talents available at its disposal, Mr. Speaker. And we are always open to engaging anyone in that effort. People can tell you, irrespective of who you are. Look at, Mr. Speaker, you are a prime example. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So what we have here, Mr. Speaker, is that at 70, the people of labor join their brothers and sisters across the nation to applaud the Dominica Labour Party for its stewardship of its country. Our party's foundational leaders, Mr. Speaker, including Isidro Black, Phyllis Shan Alfrey, and the legendary Edward Oliver LeBlanc, and laid the groundwork for political stability and economic progress in challenging times. The bold commitment of Rosie Douglas and the over-commitment of Pierre Charles to his country, their vision and dedication, Mr. Speaker, have helped shape the nation's identity and institutions and institutional framework for socio-economic advancement. All in the fruition of their vision, Mr. Speaker. All of these people have worked tirelessly. And any time you speak about any major economic intervention in Dominica, you must have the Dominica Labour Party at the center of it. And in accomplishment of our founding mission, the historical and contemporary contributions of the Dominica Labour Party to Dominica's political, social, and economic development are all living realities for citizens from every walk of life in Dominica. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, the Dominica Labour Party's long tenure is a reward. A reward, Mr. Speaker, a reward for accountable, transparent, and people-centered governance that has guided this party's consistent efforts to promote social justice and economic development, Mr. Speaker. Speak about social justice, you speak about Dominica Labour Party. You speak about major infrastructural interventions, the airport, the Melbourne Airport, the expansion of Melbourne into Douglas Charles, night landing, the construction of international airports. The roads, Mr. Speaker, the schools, the health systems, Mr. Speaker. Dramatic investments in agriculture, dramatic investments in the social safety net for people to ensure that everyone in Dominica can be part of the process of progress. This has been a reward. A reward for being at the forefront of championing workers' rights, education, healthcare, and economic livelihood, which have significantly improved the standard of living for ordinary Dominicans. You go to these communities and let's take a picture of Dominica, each or any village in Dominica, of 2020. When I went back, of 2020 and now, and you'll see the dramatic changes. Everywhere in Dominica had bad roads, Mr. Speaker. Portsmouth, we should go to Portsmouth, to Zika, to the health center by the Rodneys, Mr. Speaker, and Maud Clay. It was difficult for vehicle to drive on. Every road, don't talk about Chance. Chance was another place. All the way down to Fort Blair. In Petit Souffre, we build roads. The furthest point in Petit Souffre, Mr. Speaker, people never thought that we could have built roads down there, Mr. Speaker. We built roads there. Cochrane, major highway, Mr. Speaker, enhancing the quality of life of the people, enhancing the value of their properties. Castle Comfort, a middle-class community, had no access to pipe-borne water as we know it, Mr. Speaker. They had a makeshift system, Girodale, Eggleston, 5 minutes from Roseau. When I found out they had no water, I said, there can't be. It cost us over $8 million to bring water to Girodale and Eggleston, Mr. Speaker. Because governments prior to us felt that there was no economic viability in investing in a water system in Girodale, Eggleston. Warner, Desport, Sylvania, Lion Park, Mr. Speaker. And every time we've invested, a natural disaster comes and washes away the investment, where we continue to persevere to ensure that every single Dominican had access to water. When I became Prime Minister, I found out, Mr. Speaker, that in Goodwill, Federation Drive, St. Joseph, Mr. Speaker, Portsmouth, there were asbestos pipes. Asbestos pipes. When I became Prime Minister, I went to Marigot with the then MP, Mr. James. And I went to North End to see the water system there. He brought me there. And when I saw the water system, I said, Mr. James, but you're Prime Minister, the police should arrest you. When I saw where the people of Marigot were getting water from, there was a $3.5 million project to replace the pipes in my constituency, in my village of Vickers, to benefit me personally, Mr. Speaker, and others in my constituency. And I called Duasco from Marigot, and I told them, no, let's cancel Vickers and divert the money to Marigot and build enough in water project. When I left Marigot, Mr. James had over $6 million of commitment. I remember Brown Boy watched me and tell me, Skerrit, but if you build that road, if you ever build that road by me there, I'm voting for you. And up to today, Brown Boy is voting for me. One of my strongest supporters in Marigot, Mr. Speaker. You understand? We built a road right by his home there, because he never believed that any government would ever consider building a road for him there. These are the kinds of investments we've made. Everywhere you see, anywhere in Dominica you see concrete road, Mr. Speaker, Labour Party, this government did it. Anywhere you see concrete road. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, Mr. Speaker. Investments. You remember the time people saying that you don't concrete? You understand what I'm saying? Because of the massive investment that we recognize, to facilitate investment, you need proper infrastructure, roads. And so I'm excited about the future, Mr. Speaker. And so this is a reward. The people are electing us as a reward for unprecedented youth empowerment and elderly care. When we came to government, young people could not get a loan. There's no bank would watch them because they had no collateral. This is why we created, and I want to commend Mr. Roll for his sturdy leadership at the YBT. That we took money from the Treasury and put at the banks to guarantee a loan for a young person, Mr. Speaker. If they don't pay, we pay. When a man guarantees a loan for you, that's a big thing, Mr. Speaker. Because without that guarantee, you cannot get a loan. So we circumvented the need for any collateral, for there to produce the collateral. The government is the backup. And what kind of confidence You need to show in the young people, learn something like that. Give them the money to give them the education and give them the money to go on the start to start something for themselves. Elderly care, Mr. Speaker, yes, we care. I used to go to homes, people there, the bed not made, the bed not clean, they haven't bathed, they don't comb their hair, their nails long. Now people go to the homes. Give them a pedicure, manicure. Comb their hair. The sheets are clean. The homes are clean. We cook a meal for them. And I have a program, it's a government program, Mr. Finance, so don't write that down. Where we're gonna acquire televisions for the persons under the SPK program and connect internet to the home so they can watch the TV and keep them company. Committed to the senior citizens of Dominica. The allowance that they get, the 65 over allowance, non-pensionable allowance, Mr. Speaker, with reckless prescriptions, these things can go away. Committed to them. This is why I'm taking them from their poor housing condition and putting them into a home. Can you imagine what a home means to somebody who was living under a galvanized hut, no water, no light, poor lady inside of her husband, breeze cold, because of the spacing in the board. Just imagine this. And you take this lady and you walk her into a brand new home, warm and comfortable. And not even at their old age as a couple, I won't say that this one. I mean, they say they wish they could be much right now because they have a nice house, but they did something. People. And so we have lifted the poor and downtrodden to a better circumstance over the last 25 years. Are we done yet? I don't think so, Mr. Smith. Because there still exists people who need help and who to be taken care of. And this is our commitment. As we get the resources, we put it at the disposal of the people. A government is not for profit. We're not for profit. We are in the business of providing public goods. That's why whenever we have money, we spend it on the people. By the same token, we have been responsible by saving some. So if a natural disaster were to hit us by chance, we have about $40 million so far at the central bank that we can draw on in 5 minutes, Mr. Speaker, to buy food for people, buy blankets for them in need. And we also have a standby arrangement of $20 million US dollars or 52 million dollars at the World Bank that we would have access to within 24 hours of any natural disaster hitting us. So when I use the idiom 5 plus 5 is 55, my message to us is that it adds up quickly, as small as it is. We have to demonstrate discipline on our part. We can't every time we have a dollar, we spend it on things that we don't need. I'm not here, I don't like talking about this. I don't want anybody to think I'm lecturing them. Everybody must live their life that they want to live. But I believe we owe it as our brother's keeper to draw to their attention that some things that we really could do differently. The same way you draw to the government things you could do differently, I believe the same way the government can say to you, let's join hands. Let's be disciplined. Let's be prudent with the monies that we have. Let's save for a rainy day. Let's save so that when your child is sick, you can buy the basic medication for your children. That something happens. Pay your social security so that if you fall sick, you get something as small as it is. Be responsible. Think of tomorrow. Let us not be foolish virgins. Just because I again want to thank the people of this country for reposing their trust and confidence in this party for so long. Some say too long, but that's a matter for the voters of the country. People who vote. But people recognize that this is the only serious political organization in the country. This is the party that has made promises and delivered to the people. This is that party that has shown empathy. That's a party that you know that if you fall, if something happens to Dominica, you feel comforted that Labour is there. Because all time and time again, when people felt like we were done, we couldn't come back, we stood with the people. And we put our hands to the wheel and worked diligently. For me, Mr. Speaker, I have not done anything since 1998. But working in the vineyard of the party and in the vineyard of the country. Done nothing else. And so I support wholeheartedly this budget. I want to thank everyone, my colleagues in the government, colleagues in the party, colleagues in the parliament. I want to thank the public servants again, the Finance Secretary and PS to my office, and all the people from time to time who give us advice and counsel. We appreciate that. I want to thank my wife, Melissa, and my children, especially the two smaller ones, who are allowing me to be at the service of the people. Being in politics and having small children is the most difficult thing. It's a sacrifice that is extraordinary and cannot be quantified. But they understand, and they allow me to serve the people of Dominica. And so, what this country needs more than ever is unity in purpose. If we criticize, let it be constructive. Let it be for the better. But not to break down our country or destroy our country. Our country has been through too much. For we, as sons and daughters of our country, to deliberately malign our country, to deliberately undermine the efforts of our people. Because it's not, what you're seeing today is not the work of the government alone. It is the collective efforts, the collective contributions of every single Dominican. Whether you're a farmer or the one picking up the waste, everyone plays a part. It's a collective effort. And so if the God has given us a talent and He has given us the ability to get the knowledge and the skills, let's use it constructively. Because when COVID came, we were all scared. When Maria hit, we were all affected. And so the country is at a position poised for great things. And don't be surprised, and that's my prediction, Mr. Speaker, based on the people who are coming to the country and their inability to get a flight on American Airlines. Don't be surprised if soon you could have 2 flights a day from American Airlines. Because people are coming in. And more people coming in, more consumption, and more opportunities for all of us. And so let us look at the budget that's been presented and all of the years of investment, and let us take advantage of it. Because if we as Dominicans keep engaging ourselves in fighting with each other and spending time on social media instead of promoting our businesses and doing all sorts of nonsense that make no benefit to anybody, we will find that people will come and take what we have, and we will be left with nothing. A word to the wise is sufficient. We have to be reflective of what we want for Dominica and to open our eyes and take advantage of the opportunities which exist. And we should not wait for when it's too late. I can say to anybody in this country, irrespective of your political affiliation or your religious affiliation, do not ever believe that we're not prepared to engage you. If you have an idea, if you have a project, if you want to give us advice, if you give us suggestions, we're prepared to engage you if you want to be constructively engaged in the pursuit of prosperity for our country and greater opportunities for our people. That is what Dominica needs. More than ever now, if we're to grasp the opportunities that the Lord has given to us, that notwithstanding the challenges confronting us as a country and the world, with the war in Ukraine, the geopolitics, the tariffs, the uneasiness in the world, to come to the Parliament with such ambitious projects and programs says a lot. And therefore we should not gamble with it. And this is why from the government standpoint, I believe that we have to do two things from the government standpoint. Redouble our efforts on implementation in a more efficient manner. And secondly, we need to share with the public way more than we have been doing as to what we're doing for and on their behalf. Because when I listen to every member of Parliament on this government side, and I listen to the extent of their own stewardship, I believe that they're not selling themselves in the manner in which they're selling themselves to the public. That they're doing way more than they themselves are letting themselves know they're doing in difficult times. Being a parrot and being a minister is not easy task. But many things are happening throughout every government department. What we need to do is to share more with the people so that they can be more aware of what's happening and how they can benefit from what's happening in the country. And so we look forward, going forward, Mr. Speaker, that you will hear more from my colleagues and less from me in the next 12 months. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The final point I want to, Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker, just pass me a note too, is the issue of the population of Dominica. I believe that one of the things that we'll be doing very soon is to articulate a more progressive immigration policy for our country. We inherited, every law we inherited from the British is more prevention and not facilitation. And I believe that we have enough land in Dominica for an increased population. And therefore we have to be, in terms of visa regime, I believe that we should look at eliminating all visas to Dominica for all citizens across the world. And to facilitate people coming in. Just remove all visas. I don't look to have visas, people impose visas, and so on. You can have an amount of stay, day stay, or weeks or months or whatever it is, but people have to apply for a visa to come in there and so forth. You have to do. But the other thing I think we need to look at, we have the Palestinians. I believe that we're open to engage the government of Qatar, the government of Saudi Arabia, and the government of UAE, with a view to quite possibly allowing the resettlement of a couple hundred of Palestinians into Dominica. If we can get funding from those governments, and of course, we'll be engaging the United States government in that regard as well. If we can get the infrastructure put in, you have very talented people in this country. Top-class doctors, top-class engineers, who we believe can assist us in our efforts towards growing the economy and fill in the gaps where we have some skills deficiencies. And so we'll be engaging the public on these issues and to solicit the feedback from the public on these things. And not only limited to this party, we have to be, the world now is progressive, and we have to be more open. And I think the other thing that has to be addressed is the issue of banking. Because for you to have investments, you must have banks. For you to have trade, you must have banks. And we have raised that with the central bank, that the ability to open a bank account in our jurisdiction is almost impossible, even for local people. 10 minutes. Sorry.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to move that the Prime Minister be given an additional 10 minutes. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I second it.
It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Prime Minister given an additional 10 minutes. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. Honorable PM, you are given an additional 10 minutes.
So we have to, I find that the banks, the commercial banks, they are managing fear and not risk. You know, to me, your concern should be more of the money coming in and ensuring this necessary due diligence and know your clients and so forth, all of these international best practices already. But we cannot grow to the extent that we need to grow if it is almost impossible to bring money into Dominica. Because if the banking system is not prepared to facilitate, you run the risk of people using other means, and that can undermine the fabric of the economy. And propel all kinds of illegal activities. We cannot run a banking system the same way we ran it in 1950. This is why I've been a strong advocate for bitcoins and other forms of payments. Why is it that everywhere in the world is using it, except us in the Caribbean? But the reality is, Mr. Speaker, the citizenry are leaving governments and banks behind. Because there are Dominicans who are trading. Everybody have a wallet. And they're trading. And so these things are not captured in the mainstream statistics. But people are buying stock, people are transacting. And I think that we have to have a conversation on this thing, a progressive conversation. Instead of counting money, counting EC dollars and putting EC dollars there and this, we have to move beyond that. You can't have it, and I don't want people to take this personal, because I know people like to take things personal. We have no conversation in the country. We can't have people come in here with a credit card or a debit card full of money to spend in the country, and you don't have access to money. You tell a person no more than $100. What's 100 US? What's 100 euro? And so you go to the ATM and you can't withdraw the money that you want to withdraw. But you jump on a plane to the United States or to any other country in the world and you can withdraw your money easily, SIM card. So Dominicans can withdraw any amount of money they want overseas when they go to the card, but you can't withdraw enough money. People come in and they want to spend. And they can't spend. So I am not saying that we should free up the system in a loose way. But to me, the system needs, so the same way we're going to review our education reform, we should have banking reform. The banks have to move from managing fear to managing risk. And Mr. Speaker, 9 out of 10 investors who come to the country experience untold difficulty in not bringing money, opening the account, Mrs. And if you don't have the account, what does that mean? You can't bring in the money. So all our efforts out there to go out there and to solicit investments, Mr. Speaker, are not bearing the kind of fruits that the Dominican people could enjoy because the financial system is not facilitated. And so I am saying so that the boards and management of those entities can place it on the agenda in a dispassionate manner. Because a bank is crucial to the economic viability of any country. We have to do something about that. Otherwise, the 10% growth that we once achieved, and so you can see, member of payables, that we have the capacity to grow the economy to more than 10%. But we need the help. We need the facilitation. You understand? And this is where we have. Otherwise, we'll have an underground economy that will undermine the opportunities of those who are engaging themselves in legitimate, lawful businesses. Thank you.